Tell me, where did your heart go? Do what you do like you knew All right, let's get going. Hi guys, welcome back to another stream of Karinsky 23 and another reading of Harry Potter. Okay. We were just listening to the musical talents of my brother and his band, Night Tides. They are in a contest, a local contest here in Nashville called Music City Mayhem. It's basically like a March Madness, but Battle of the Band style. And on Wednesday, they're going up against their first band. It's not like a band versus band, it's a song versus song, really. They pick one song of each band, and that song goes against the song of another band, and whoever gets the most votes goes on to the next round. So we are very much hoping that they win this year. Last year they were in the contest, and it was the first time they were in the contest. It was really cool, but they got to the semifinals, and we were so excited, and then they did not get on to the next round. And yeah, I don't know if I should say what I was gonna say. Let's just say that there was a real strange tendency of the other person they were against to just get a few more votes than them in the nick of time. Like, after they would get more votes, the other team would get more votes in a very, like, odd way. But that's all hearsay and doesn't really mean anything at all, except for that it was a super, super close race, and we had, it's like when you get so close but you don't make it, it's almost worse than as if you like were farther away and didn't make it. But anyway, we're still really, really, really happy that they got to the semifinals, and super excited that they're in the contest again this year. So hoping that they will win. If you want to vote for them, go to lightning100.com. You don't even have to live locally. You don't have to listen to Lightning 100 radio station, although it would be great if you did. But just go and vote for Night Tides on Wednesday, this Wednesday. It's all day long. Okay, so let's put on our Harry Potter background music here, because it feels like eerily quiet without it on, you know what I mean? Okay. For some reason, it is not coming up for me. Gimli! Gimli! Come here! Come here, child. Yeah. We should get you a chair, Gimli. I don't have another good chair for Gimli to sit in. That is perplexing. I wish he could sit next to me. That would be really cool. Okay, I remember what it's called. It's called like Fantasy something. And yeah. I think it's this one. There we go. Okay, so this is Tavern in Music by Relaxation Harmony. They didn't really like leave their name to promote them, but I'll just say their email. It's kefey6lhc@gmail.com if you want to collaborate or promote for this wonderful person who lends us the music for our streams here. Okay. Make sure it's a nice background. All right. Oh, we have a little window for Gimli. I didn't even see that. It just blended in with the first years. It really did. Okay. I'm gonna get my popcorn, and then we're gonna start the read. If you guys have any particular questions feel free to put them in the chat. And since this is live, if you're watching this in the future... By the way, how's my hair in the future? Is it still good or do I lose it? I really need to know. But if you are watching this in the future, feel free to be a really good Samaritan and post in the chat below in the comments that whatever number we end up starting to read, so that future friends can just skip ahead if they don't want to hear me blabbering. Some people really don't want to hear me blabbering, and I find that odd, but it's true. Okay, let me get my popcorn and then we'll be ready to go. You guys get your popcorn as well. Get yourself a nice cup of tea. We're gonna settle in for a chapter here. Oops. Kicking things. Shut this. Delightful as the outside world is. All right. Boom Chicka Pop. It's like supposed to be healthier or something. Which I believe it is, because it doesn't taste as good as non-healthy popcorn. I almost said ice cream. It's because I prefer ice cream to popcorn. Fun fact, I took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% like sweets better than salty. It had something to do with the Neanderthal DNA that I have. Neanderthal or Neanderthal? I don't know. One of those. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to wipe my hand on my robes like a heathen, because I can't get any sort of grease on my book. Alright, you guys. Again, the cover of the book looks like this. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. As always, we will test the volume levels. I have to wipe my hand on my robes like a heathen, because I can't get any sort of grease on my book. Alright, you guys. Again, the cover of the book looks like this. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Is there like a weird scratchy in the background? That is weird. I don't know what that is. My apologies if you're hearing a weird scratchy noise. I don't know what that is. It might be in my mind. I might be crazy. Well, we know I'm crazy, but, you know, am I crazy about that particular thing? Okay, so this is the... Look how beautiful this is. Again, let's just skip props to Jim Kay, who does the illustration here. Is beautiful. Beautiful. This is called Grim Defeat. Okay. Chapter 9, Grim Defeat. Now, there's two ways I've been reading this. One with my British accent, and then I keep a British accent for the narrator, and the second is I have my regular voice for the narrator, but then I have the British accent for all the characters. What do you guys think? What do you prefer? Do you prefer a British accent all the way through, or do you prefer the narrator's voice to be different and just be my regular voice compared to the British voice, and then do the characters? I feel like it's kind of hard to switch back and forth, but also makes it easier to pronounce the words, because some of these words are, you know, they're more advanced. This is the third book, so she's expecting our readers to be a little bit older. How old are these readers at this point? Probably around the same age as Harry. I think he turned 12 last year, so for this year he is turning 13, or is 13. Yeah, turned 13, because his birthday's always in the summer. Yes, so he is 13 now. Woo! Look at him, 13. Okay, I don't. Whatever. Let's begin. Without further ado, please go ahead and mark 26:52 in the comments as the start time there. I'll put it in the chat as well. Well, now it's 27:03, but we could play this game all day long, couldn't we? Professor Dumbledore sent all the Gryffindors back to the Great Hall, where they joined... Oh dear God. The dog has to go to the bathroom. Stand by, my friends. I do not want the dog to go to the bathroom on my... Look at him. He's being such a good boy. He's just standing by the door politely saying, "Please take me to the bathroom." Okay, we will be right back. Yes, I will take you to the bathroom because I love you. Wash my hands and I will be back for a bit. Okay, let the record show that at approximately 32 and 20 seconds in, we are now back for break. You guys, I live in an apartment complex, and I went outside like this, not realizing that this might be an odd thing for my neighbors to see. And there were several neighbors about, and one of the neighbors was walking their dog, and their dog started barking. I believe at me because I looked like a freakazoid. And that dog was freaking out because he saw me and was like, "What is that?" It's a fair thing for someone to say when they see me. What is that? I do not know how McGonagall wears her hat. Okay. Oh, like, that seems right. Okay. I don't want to show my ribbon off. It's there for a reason. Look how glorious it is. Okay. Anyway. So, this dog started barking at me because I looked real weird. And then Gimli starts barking at that dog because that dog is barking at us. And then it was just chaos of me trying to pick up Gimli's poop at the same time as holding Gimli back because he was trying to lunge at this dog, and also wearing wizard's robes, which are not, very form-fitting, so it was hard to pick up dog poop with them while you are wearing them. And it was a delightful experience. Gimli would like to say hi. Gimli, come here. You are a chubster. He's so tiny, but he is so chunky. Yes, you are. You are. You're so heavy. You're so heavy. Say hi to everybody. Hello, everybody. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the licks. You are so nice and I love you. Look at him, he's like a little teddy bear. Yeah. I love him. Okay, you ready to go down? Let's put you down. There you go. Alright. Shall we read? Where did I put the book? Oh, it's behind me. Oh, I feel like a Gandalf from the first movie type character today. A little bit scattered and mysterious and goofy. Yes, here we go. Let's the other records show that at 35, well, actually, we'll just say 36 minutes in, we start the reading. Professor Dumbledore. Let's the other records show that at 35, well, actually, we'll just say 36. Okay, sorry, just have to check my volume. Professor Dumbledore sent all the Gryffindors back to the Great Hall, where they were joined 10 minutes later by the students from Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin, who all looked extremely confused. The teachers and I need to conduct a thorough search of the castle, Professor Dumbledore told them, as Professors McGonagall and Flitwick closed all doors into the hall. I am afraid that, for your own safety, you will have to spend the night here. I want the prefects to stand guard over the entrances to the hall, and I'm leaving the head boy and girl in charge. Any disturbance should be reported immediately, he added to Percy, who was looking immensely proud and important. Send word with one of the ghosts. Professor Dumbledore paused, about to leave the hall, and said, Oh yes, you'll be needing. One casual wave of his wand, and the long tables flew to the edges of the hall and stood themselves against the walls. Another wave, and the floor was covered with hundreds of squashy purple sleeping bags. Sleep well, said Professor Dumbledore, closing the door behind him. That didn't happen in the movie. They did not sleep on the floor in sleeping bags. They got back to their common room. That's funny. Forgot about that. The hall immediately began to buzz excitedly. The Gryffindors were telling the rest of the school what had just happened. Everyone in their sleeping bags, shouted Percy. Come on now, no more talking. Lights out in 10 minutes. Come on, Ron said to Harry and Hermione. They seized 3 sleeping bags and dragged them into a corner. Do you think Black's still in the castle? Hermione whispered anxiously. Dumbledore obviously thinks he might be, said Ron. It's very lucky he picked tonight, you know, said Hermione as they climbed fully dressed into their sleeping bags and propped themselves on their elbows to talk. The one night we weren't in the tower. I reckon he's lost track of time being on the run, said Ron. Didn't realize it was Halloween, otherwise he'd have come bursting in here. Hermione shuddered. All around them, people were asking each other the same question. How did he get in? Maybe he knows how to apparate, said a Ravenclaw a few feet away. Just appear out of thin air, you know. Disguised himself, probably, said a Hufflepuff 5th year. He could have flown in, suggested Dean Thomas. Honestly, am I the only person who's ever bothered to read Hogwarts a history? Said Hermione crossly to Harry and Ron. Probably, said Ron. Why? Oh, I love that line. I'm glad that line made it into the film. It's so great. Honestly, am I the only one who's bothered to read Hogwarts a history? Because the castle's protected by more than just walls, you know, said Hermione. There are all sorts of enchantments on it. Stop people entering by stealth. You can't just apparate in here, and I'd like to see the disguise that could fool those Dementors. They're guarding every single entrance to the grounds. They'd have seen him fly in. And Filch knows all the secret passages. They'll have them covered. The lights are going out now, Percy shouted. I want everyone in their sleeping bags and no more talking. The candles all went out at once. The only light now came from the silvery ghosts who were drifting about, talking seriously to the prefects. And the enchanted ceiling, which, like the sky outside, was scattered with stars. What with that and the whispering that still filled the hall, Harry felt as though he was sleeping out of doors in a light wind. Once every hour, a teacher would reappear in the Great Hall to check everything was quiet. Around 3 in the morning, when many students had finally fallen asleep, Professor Dumbledore came in. Harry watched him looking around for Percy, who had begun prowling between the sleeping bags, telling people off for talking. Percy was only a short way away from Harry. Ron and Hermione, who quickly pretended to be asleep, as Dumbledore's footsteps grew nearer. Any sign of him, Professor? Asked Percy in a whisper. No. All well here? Everything is under control, sir. Good. There's no point moving them all now. I've found a temporary guardian for the Gryffindor portrait hall. You'll be able to move them back in tomorrow. And the fat lady, sir? Hiding in a map of Argyllshire on the 2nd floor. Apparently she refused to let Black in without the password, so he attacked. She's still very distressed, but once she's calmed down, I'll have Mr. Filch restore her. Harry heard the door of the hall creak open again and more footsteps. Headmaster? It was Snape. Harry kept quite still, listening hard. The whole of the 3rd floor... Oh, sorry, that's actually Snape talking. The whole of the 3rd floor has been searched. He's not there.
And Filch has done the dungeons. Nothing there either. That was a terrible, terrible Snape, you guys. I'm so sorry. What about the God dang it. God. Okay, sorry. We're just gonna start over that line, okay, you guys? And pretend that never happened. Alright. The whole of the 3rd floor has been searched. He's not there. And Filch has done the dungeons. Nothing there either. That wasn't that much better, but you know what? You guys bear with me. What about the astronomy tower? Professor Trelawney's room? The owlry? All searched. Very well, Severus. I don't really expect Black to linger.
Gimli! Lie down. Sit. Okay, good job. You just relax, okay?
Thank you. I have a hard time doing Snape's voice because it's hard to sound all nasally like what they'll say.
Have you any theory as to how he got in, Professor?
Asked Snape. Harry raised his head very slightly off his arms to free his other ear. Many, Severus. Each of them as unlikely as the next. Harry opened his eyes a fraction and squinted up to where they stood. Dumbledore's back was to him, but he could see Percy's face, wrapped with attention, and Snape's profile, which looked angry. You remember? I've lost my Snape, guys. I don't know where he went, but he left me, and I would like him back, please. Okay, let's see. He's got like a nasally voice, like, you remember, I'm Snape. I'm Snape. Well, that helps a little bit. I'm Snape. That's kind of how he sounds in the Puppet Pals. I'm Snape. Let's go bother Snape. Bother, bother, bother. Bother, bother, bother. I'm Snape. Get out of my potions class, you twit. I don't know if that will help me, but... Hello, Trina. Welcome. I love Harry Potter too. It's lovely to have you here. Welcome. Oh man. Okay, let's try to get some so he's got like a nasally voice like, oh, I'm Snape, and he also has like a, he speaks low like this and serious and very, I guess very flat. He doesn't inflect his voice a lot because he's not very excited about anything except for punishing students, and that's best done with a angry, flat tone. We'll keep working on Snape, you guys. We'll keep working on Snape. Okay. You remember the conversation we had. I feel like I'm starting to sound like James Earl Jones more than Snape, which it makes no sense. Remember, Simba, everything the light touches. You remember the conversation we had, Headmaster, just before the start of term, said Snape, who was barely opening his lips, as though trying to block Percy out of the conversation. I do, Severus, said Dumbledore, and there was something like warning in his voice. I do not know who's supposed to say this because as the books continue on and on, I remember J.K. Rowling is a great writer, but as the books continue on, she gives less and less information about who's talking, which is not helpful for audiobook narrators. So I will tell you what, the person who narrated the audiobook, which I think his name was also Jim. Sounds familiar. I am not necessarily Hermione. I guess I could be. This hat is technically McGonagall's hat, and this robe is just generic Gryffindor robe, so... And then I'm wearing a Gryffindor Quidditch jersey. So, if anything, I'm like some futuristic wizard who inherited Harry and McGonagall's clothes. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, she doesn't give you very many indication of who's talking. So if I was actually the audiobook narrator for this book, I would be highlighting all of the different characters' lines so I'd know which voice to do. And that is precisely, I'm sure, what the audiobook narrator for this book did. So I apologize if some of the speech is in the wrong voice. Okay. It seems almost impossible that Black could have entered the school without inside help. I did express my concerns. Ooh, that kind of sounds like Snape. I did express my concerns. What did I do differently? I did. It's kind of like in my front of my face. I did express my concerns when you appointed. I do not believe a single person inside this castle would have helped Black enter it, said Dumbledore, and his tone made it so clear that the subject was closed that Snape didn't reply. Thank you. Okay. I must go down to the Dementors, said Dumbledore. I said I would inform them when our search was complete. Didn't they want to help, sir? Said Percy. Oh, yes, said Dumbledore coldly, but I'm afraid no Dementor will cross the threshold of this castle while I am headmaster. Percy looked slightly abashed. Dumbledore left the hall, walking quickly and quietly. Snape stood for a moment, watching the headmaster with an expression of deep resentment on his face. Then he too left. Oh, you guys, reading back this book, it's so hard. It's so hard not to give spoilers. I mean, I'm just reading this and I'm like, ooh, these conversations were not in the movie and they are foreshadowing of such important events that happen later. It's so exciting. So exciting when you go back and you're like, oh, you know, Harry right now, he's overhearing all of this and he's probably like, what the heck is he talking about? Who in the castle would dare help Sirius Black? The only person who has it in for Harry is who? Malfoy? Snape himself? And Snape's clearly upset about it, so who would let Black into the castle? Only Malfoy. That's the only one I can think of that would, like, dislike Harry enough to let Black in the castle. So that's probably what Harry's thinking. He's like, who is trying to kill me? Who wants to help Black kill me? Hi, Magnus Falls. Welcome back. My favorite film part? Oh my god, I don't even know. I do not even know. Oh, I do know, actually. I do know, and you will know too if... I don't remember how much, but there's like a special donation or subscription or something. I forget what it is. I think it's a subscription. If you subscribe for a certain number of months, I think, you will receive the clip of my favorite part of the film, which is when Ron and Hermione kiss, and that is one of my alerts. Yeah, that's what they're called. Alerts. You let Black in the castle? How crazy of you. Oh, welcome. You've been sorted into Ravenclaw. Very good for you. Very bright. Wit beyond measure, as they say. Alright. Anyway, so Dumbledore is saying that no one would have let Black in the castle, and Snape is saying that he clearly thinks someone would have let Black in the castle, and... yeah, you know, I don't know if I can forgive that because he's pretty dangerous guy, so I don't know. I don't know if I can forgive you for letting him in. Alright. Let us continue. I should have a command that's like exclamation point sorting hat. That would be cool. Harry glanced sideways at Ron. Oh, I've started my British voice again. I still don't know, guys, yet if I want to have a British narrator voice or an American narrator voice who does the characters with the British. We'll try back and forth and see what you guys like. Harry glanced sideways at Ron and Hermione. Both of them had their eyes open too, reflecting the starry ceiling. What was that all about? Ron mouthed. The school talked of nothing but Sirius Black for the next few days. The theories about how he had entered the castle became wilder and wilder. Hannah Abbott from Hufflepuff spent much of their next herbology class telling anyone who'd listen that Black could turn into a flowering shrub. The fat lady's ripped canvas had been taken off the wall and replaced with the portrait of Sir Cadogan. Sir Cadogan? Cadogan? Sir Cadogan and his fat great pony. Gray pony. Sorry, it sounded like I said great. It's not a great pony, it's a gray pony. So, he's like Aslan. He's not safe, but he's good. Sir Cadogan spent half his time challenging people to duels and the rest thinking up ridiculously complicated passwords, which he changed at least twice a day. He's barking mad, said Seamus Finnegan angrily to Percy. I feel like Seamus Finnegan has a more of like a Scottish voice or Irish or something. His name is Seamus. That's kind of like an Irish. How does an Irish person's accent go? How does the Irish accent go? Let's see. I think of like Thomas Shelby from the Peaky Blinders. But I feel like his Irish accent is more like just British because they kind of live in Britain. Anyway, maybe I will channel my Thomas Shelby into Seamus Finnegan. He's barking mad, said Seamus Finnegan angrily to Percy. Oh, that's very Irish of me, how I said Percy. He's barking mad. He's barking mad. He's barking mad. He's barking mad. I don't know. How would you say that with an Irish accent? The only thing I can say with an Irish accent is top of the morning to ya. Because it's so cliche. Top of the morning to ya. He's barking mad. Nope, doesn't sound Irish at all. Well, you know what? I guess we just can't do an Irish accent sometimes. We just can't, you know? Can't we get anyone else? There, that's kind of Irish-ish. British, Irish, they're very close. They're close together. You know, geographically. None of the other pictures wanted the job, said Percy, frightened of what happened to the fat lady. Sir Cadogan was the only one brave enough to volunteer. Sir Cadogan, however, was the least of Harry's worries. He was now being closely watched. Teachers found excuses to walk along corridors with Harry. And Percy Weasley, acting, Harry suspected, on his mother's orders, was tailing him everywhere, like an extremely pompous guard dog. To cap it all, Professor McGonagall summoned Harry into her office with such a somber expression on her face that Harry thought someone must have died. "There's no point hiding it from you any longer, Potter," she said in a very serious voice. "I know this will come as a shock to you, but Sirius Black, I know he's after me," said Harry wearily. "I heard Ron's dad telling his mum Mr. Weasley works for the Ministry of Magic." Professor McGonagall seemed very taken aback. She stared at Harry for a moment or two, then said, "I see. Well, in that case, Potter, you'll understand why I don't think it's a good idea for you to be practicing Quidditch in the evenings. Out on the pitch with only your team members is very exposed, Potter." Are you kidding me? Why don't you just pinch him in the foot and throw him in a cauldron of pixies? There's nothing worse you could do but take away his Quidditch, man. That's not okay. All right. We've got our first match on Saturday, said Harry. Outraged. I've got to train, Professor. Professor McGonagall considered him intently. Harry knew she was deeply interested in the Gryffindor. Gryffindor? This is my Gryffindor Quidditch jersey here. Gryffindor. On the back it has number 7. Alright, back up so you can see my hat. That's the most important part of me. My hat. Alright. Harry knew she was deeply interested in the Gryffindor team prospects. It had been she, after all, who who suggested... I was gonna say snuggested. I thought it said snuggled. It was Professor McGonagall who snuggled him as the Seeker in the first place. Who suggested him as the Seeker in the first place. Okay. He waited, holding his breath. Professor McGonagall stood up and stared out of the window at the Quidditch pitch, just visible through the rain. Well, goodness knows I'd like to see us win the cup at last. But, all the same, Potter... Totally messed up her voice there. I'd be happier if a teacher was present. I'll ask Madam Hooch to oversee your training sessions. The weather worsened steadily as the first Quidditch match drew nearer. Undaunted, the Gryffindor team were training harder than ever under the eye of Madam Hooch. Then, at their final training session before Saturday's match, Oliver Wood gave his team some unwelcome news. We're not playing Slytherin, he told them, looking very angry. Flint's just not been to see me. We're playing Hufflepuff instead. Why? Chorused the rest of the team. Flint's excuse is that the Seeker's arm is still injured, said Wood, grinding his teeth furiously. But it's obvious what they're doing. They don't want to play in this weather. Think it'll damage their chances. There had been strong winds and heavy rain all day. And as Wood spoke, they heard distant rumble of thunder. There's nothing wrong with Malfoy's arm, said Harry furiously. He's faking it. I know that, but we can't prove it, said Wood bitterly. And we've been practicing all these moves assuming we're playing Slytherin, and instead it's Hufflepuff, and their style's quite different. They've got a new captain in Seeker, Cedric Diggory. Angelina, Alicia, and Katie suddenly giggled. What? Said Wood, frowning at the light-hearted behavior. He's that tall, good-looking one, isn't he? Said Angelina. Strong and silent, said Katie. They started to giggle again. He's only silent because he's too thick to string 2 words together, said Fred impatiently. I don't know why you're worried, Oliver. Hufflepuff are a pushover. Last time we played them, Harry caught the snitch in about 5 minutes, remember? We were playing in completely different conditions, Wood shouted, his eyes bulging slightly. Diggory's put a very strong side together. He's got an excellent Seeker. I was afraid you'd take it like this. We mustn't relax. We must keep our focus. Slytherin are trying to wrong-foot us. We must win. Oliver, calm down, said Fred, looking slightly alarmed. We're taking Hufflepuff very seriously. Seriously. The day before the match, the winds reached howling point, and the rain fell harder than ever. It was so dark inside the corridors, I switched to my British voice, didn't even notice. Well, there you go. In classrooms that extra torches and lanterns were lit. The Slytherin team were looking very smug indeed, and none more so than Malfoy. Ah, if only my arm was feeling a bit better, he sighed as the gale outside pounded the windows. What's a gale? The gale outside pounded the windows? Sounds like it would be hail, but it's spelled G-A-L-E. Okay. Harry had no room in his head to worry about anything except the match next day. Oliver Wood kept hurrying up to him between classes and giving him tips. The 3rd time this happened, Wood talked for so long that Harry suddenly realized that he was 10 minutes late for Defense Against the Dark Arts. and set off at a run with Wood shouting after him, "Diggory's got a very fast swerve, Harry, so you might want to try looping him." Harry skidded to a halt outside the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, pulled the door open, and dashed inside. "Sorry I'm late, Professor Lupin, But it wasn't Professor Lupin who looked up at him from the teacher's desk. It was Snape. That's the worst thing that could happen in this situation. "This lesson began 10 minutes ago, Potter. So, I think we'll make it 10 points from Gryffindor. Sit down." But Harry didn't move. "Where's Professor Lupin?" he said. "He says he's feeling too ill to teach today," said Snape with a twisted smile. "I believe I told you to sit down." But Harry stayed where he was. "What's wrong with him?" Snape's black eyes glittered. "Nothing life-threatening," he said, looking as though he wished it was. 5 more points for Gryffindor, and if I have to ask you to sit down again, it will be 50. Harry walked slowly to his seat and sat down. Snape looked around at the class. Harry is a little firecracker, isn't he? I remember reading this book and thinking, like, as a kid, I was so on Harry's side. I was like, yeah, where is Professor Lupin? Snape, you better answer, sir. But as an adult reading this, I'm like, dang, he's just like standing up to the teacher like that in front of everybody, just asking questions, being all disobedient. That's so crazy. That's crazy, you know? You know? He could have just like sat down and raised his hand and asked, or, you know, waited till after class or something, but he like was like incredulously asking Snape. He doesn't like Snape, and there's good reason for that. But he doesn't try to hide that, you know? It's interesting. It's interesting because Snape's in a position of authority. He's a teacher. I feel like a lot of times if you have a teacher you don't like, you know, you don't try to show that to them. You don't try to be rude or disobedient to them because they're your teacher and they can do stuff that you don't like. Give you a bad grade. Anyway, Harry doesn't care about that though, because he is brave and he is sassy and he is fierce. And he only cares about the truth and nothing but the truth. Yeah, well, he's also a little bit uneducated. All right? You know, he's just a kid. There's a lot of things he doesn't understand, okay? There's a lot of complicated relationship situations going on here that he doesn't understand. And so he's gonna talk that way to Snape now as this little 13-year-old kid who's fiery, okay? And where's my friend Lupin? What'd you do with him, Mr. Snape? But, you know, if he knew when he's an older Harry, he'll look back on this moment and he'll be like, I was a bit rude to Snape right then, and yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Alright, let's continue. Okay. As I was saying before, Potter interrupted. Professor Lupin has not left any record of topics you've covered so far. Please, sir, we've done Boggarts, Redcaps, Coppers, and Grindylows, said Hermione quickly. And we're just about to start. Be quiet, snapped Snape coldly. I did not ask for information. I was merely commenting on Professor Lupin's lack of organization. He's the best Defense Against Dark Arts teacher we've ever had, said Dean Thomas boldly. And there was a murmur of agreement from the rest of the class. Snape looked more menacing than ever. Now see there, you know, I'm on Dean's side, because at this point, now Snape is addressing the whole class, you know, he's starting this conversation with him, and he's insulting their teacher. Before, he was just informing Harry that the teacher was sick, and then Harry reacted like, well, did you make him sick? Was it you? Did you poison him? You know that's what Harry was hinting at when he was being so defiant. You know. But Dean was just reacting to something that Snape said bad about their teacher, and that's understandable. At this point, you know, he crossed the line. Dean's got to respond. He's got to stand up for his teacher, you know what I mean? Okay. Is this Snape talking again? Yeah, it's Snape talking again. Okay. You are easily satisfied. Lupin is hardly overtaxing you. I would expect first years to be able to deal with redcaps and grindylows. Today we shall discuss. Harry watched him flick through the textbook to the very back chapter, which he must have known. They hadn't, excuse me. He hadn't covered. Werewolves, said Snape. But sir, said Hermione, seemingly unable to restrain herself, we're not supposed to do werewolves yet. We're due to start our hinky punks. Miss Granger, said Snape in a voice of deadly calm, I was under the impression that I was taking this lesson, not you. And I'm telling you all to turn to page 394. He glanced around again. All of you, now! With many bitter side looks and some sullen muttering, the class opened their books. You know what? I'm not with the class on this one. Werewolves are way cooler than what were they? What even was that thing she said? What did she say? Hinky punks? Hinky punks? I don't even know what that is, but I can tell you they sound pathetic. They sound like a first year could beat them up. Hinky punks, okay? Are you kidding me, Harry? You went up against Voldemort in the first year of your time here at Hogwarts and the second year as well, and you want to learn about hinky punks? You punk? Werewolves, man. Werewolves is where it is at. Haven't you ever seen Twilight? You gotta know how to defend yourself against those guys. They are smoldering, and you can't fight that. You gotta know. Like pineapple on pizza? Well, thank you. I'm glad my voice is smooth and delicious like pineapple on pizza. Okay. Which of you can tell me how we distinguish between the werewolf and the true wolf? Said Snape. Everyone sat in motionless silence. Everyone except for Hermione, whose hand, you guys, I'm going to take a water break because you can hear a little scratch in my voice. Hold on one moment. All right. Thank you guys for your patience. I'm trying to figure out where to put my chat. I don't know where to put it, man. Whatever. And we'll just go off to the side there. Just go off to the side. There's not much we can do. Not much we can do, you know? Alright, so where were we? Werewolves and such. Werewolves, you know, those smoldering guys. Everyone sat in motionless silence. Everyone except Hermione, whose hand, as it so often did, had shot straight into the air. Anyone? Snape said, ignoring Hermione. His twisted smile was back. Are you telling me that Professor Lupin hasn't even taught you the basic distinction between... We've told you, said Parvati suddenly. We haven't got as far... Wait, how does Parvati sound? Parvati. Parvati. I feel like she has a mature voice, but I don't want to make her sound too much like Hermione. Hermione is very airy. I'm Hermione, and I
I speak with kind of an airy voice because I am so smart, and I know it. But Pravati is more... She's got more of a sturdy voice, I feel like. Like, I'm Pavati. I'm Pavati. I'm Pavati. I'm Pavati. I'm Pavati. What? I don't know what that means. Okay. Let's go back to Pavati. We've told you, said Pavati suddenly. We haven't got as far. We haven't got as far as werewolves yet. We haven't got, we haven't got as far as werewolves yet. We told you, said Pravati suddenly. We haven't got as far as werewolves yet. We're still on... Silence, snarled Snape. Well, I never thought I'd meet a third-year class who wouldn't even recognize a werewolf when they saw one. I shall make a point of informing Professor Dumbledore how behind you all are. Please, sir. See, I need Parvati to sound a little bit more different than that, you know? Please, sir, said Hermione. Please, sir. Please, sir. Can I have some more? Please, sir. 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 Please, sir, said Hermione, whose hand was still in the air. The werewolf differs from the true wolf in several small ways. The snout of the werewolf... That is the second time you have spoken out of turn, Miss Granger, said Snape coolly. 5 more points from Gryffindor for being an insufferable know-it-all. Rude. Hermione went very red, put down her hand, and stared at the floor with her eyes full of tears. Aww. Poor Rachel Hermione. It was a mark of how much the class loathed Snape that they were all glaring at him, because every one of them had called Hermione a know-it-all at least once. And Ron, who told Hermione she was a know-it-all at least twice a week, said loudly, You asked us a question, and she knows the answer. Why ask if you don't want to be told? Yeah, Ron. Heck yeah, Ron. That's right. You stand up for your woman. The class knew instantly he'd gone too far. Snape advanced on Ron slowly, and the room held its breath. Detention, Weasley, Snape said silkily, his face very close to Ron's. And if I ever hear you criticize the way I teach a class again, then you will be very sorry indeed. No one made a sound throughout the rest of the lesson. They sat and made notes on werewolves from the textbook, while Snape prowled up and down the rows of desks, examining the work they had been doing with Professor Lupin. Very poorly explained. That is incorrect. The kappa is more commonly found in Mongolia. Professor Lupin gave this 8 out of 10. I wouldn't even have given it 3. When the bell rang at last, Snape held them back. You will each write an essay to be handed in to me on the way you recognize and kill werewolves. I want 2 rolls of parchment on the subject, and I want them by Monday morning. It is time somebody took this class in hand. Weasley, stay behind. We need to arrange your detention. Snape is way out of line. You know, you don't just go into another teacher's classroom and start telling all the students how it's gonna be. You don't get to just assign them some homework and start making fun of the teacher. That is against the code of ethics of teachers, and that is not okay. And I do not condone it. I do not condone that. That's what I'm saying. That it's wrong. Very wrong, Snape. Very, very wrong. Bad Snape. Bad Snape. Okay. Okay, where were we? I just totally lost my place. It was worth it. Snape was a bad Snape. Okay, oh yeah. Snape's never been like this with any of our Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers, even if he did want the job, said Harry to Hermione. Why's he got it out for Lupin? Do you think it's because of the Boggart? I don't know, said Hermione pensively, but I really hope Professor Lupin gets better soon. Ron caught up with them 5 minutes later in a towering rage. Do you know what that... He called Snape something that made Hermione say, Ron! Is making me do? I've got to scrub out the bedpans in the hospital wing without magic. He was breathing deeply, his fists clenched. Why couldn't Black have given it to Snape's office, eh? He couldn't have finished him off for us? Interesting. Interesting. Well, that's all I'm going to say about that. Harry woke extremely early next morning, so early that it was still dark. For a moment, he thought the roaring wind had woken him. Then he felt a cold breeze on the back of his neck and sat bolt upright. Peeves, the poltergeist, had been floating next to him, blowing hard in his ear. Ugh. Peeves. That's why they didn't let you in the movie, you weirdo. Peeve, what did you do that for? Said Harry, furiously and with a voice different than he ever used before. Peeves puffed out his cheeks, blew hard, and zoomed backwards out of the room, cackling. Harry fumbled for his alarm clock and looked at it. It was 4:30. Cursing Peeves, he rolled over and tried to get back to sleep, but it was very difficult. Now he was awake. To ignore the sounds of thunders, rumbling... Okay, back. That was a complex sentence. We're gonna... Peeves. Cursing Peeves, he rolled over and tried to get back to sleep. But it was very difficult now that he was awake to ignore the sounds of thunder rumbling overhead. Remember when you learned about complex sentences in school? And the pounding of the wind against the castle walls and the distant crackling of the trees in the Forbidden Forest. That was a very long sentence. It was like a whole paragraph. In a few hours, he would be out on the Quidditch pitch battling through that gale. Gale. Again, what is that? Is it just another name for hail? Finally, he gave up any thought of more sleep, got up, dressed, picked up his Nimbus 2000, and walked quietly out of the dormitory. As Harry opened the door, something brushed against his leg. He bent down just in time to grab Crookshanks by the end of his bushy tail and drag him outside. Rude. He's a cat. Okay, you don't pull their tail. You should know that. You know, I reckon Ron was right about you, Harry told Crookshanks suspiciously. There are plenty of mice around this place. Go and chase them. Go on, he added, nudging Crookshanks down the spiral staircase with his foot. Leave Scabbers alone. The noise of the storm was even louder in the common room. Harry knew better than to think the match would be cancelled. Quidditch matches weren't called off for trifles such as thunderstorms. Nevertheless, he was starting to feel very apprehensive. Wood had pointed out Cedric Diggory to him in the corridor. Diggory was a 5th year and a lot bigger than Harry. Seekers were usually light and speedy, but Diggory's weight would be an advantage in this weather because he was less likely to be blown off course. Yeah. Alright. Here we go. Picture of a werewolf. This is what werewolves look like. It's a werewolf, and that's the picture. You have seen it. You feel good about that. Alright. I feel good, you feel good. We all feel good. Oh wait, did you see this part? Property of the library. Look at that face. It's a face only a mother could love. Yeah, front load washers are better. True. Harry whiled away the hours until dawn in front of the fire, getting up every now and then to stop Crookshanks sneaking up this boy's staircase again. At long last, Harry thought it might be time for breakfast, so he headed through the portrait hole alone.
Stand and fight, you mangy cur! Yelled Sir Cadogan. Cadogan? Oh, shut up, Harry yawned. He revived a bit over a large bowl of porridge, and by the time he started up on the toast, the rest of the team turned up. Ah, that would be my favorite part about living in Hogwarts, you guys. My throat today, has like a frog in it. Get out of my throat! Okay, my favorite part, if I lived at Hogwarts, my favorite part would be the food. Okay? All the other magic stuff is cool, you know? I don't care about it. All I care about is the magic food. Everything else, they could get rid of it if they had to. But the magic food, I'm talking the butter beer, I'm talking all of the amazing things in the Great Hall. The food just appears. It's endless food. It's always there. All the varieties of foods. Just every holiday, every type of food. Food, 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 food. That is the best part about being a wizard at Hogwarts, and it is amazing, and I wish that were real, because food. You know what I mean? Food. Great. Alright. So he's eating some porridge and some food. And then the rest of the team shows up. It's gonna be a tough one, said Wood, who wasn't eating anything. Stop worrying, Oliver, said Alicia soothingly. We don't mind a bit of rain. But it was considerably more than a bit of rain. Such was the popularity of Quidditch that the whole school turned out to watch the match as usual. But they ran down the lawns towards the Quidditch pitch, heads bowed against the ferocious wind, umbrellas being whipped out of their hands as they went. Just before he entered the changing room, Harry saw Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle laughing and pointing at him from under an enormous umbrella on their way to the stadium. You know, Quidditch has a lot of intense rules, and I wonder if you withdraw from a Quidditch match, that should count against you. Like, they should count that against the Slytherin team for withdrawing. I guess maybe they're being easy on them because they have an injury, but I feel like they should count that against them if they try to withdraw, you know? Alright, the team changed into their scarlet robes and waited for Wood's usual pre-match pep talk, but it didn't come. He tried to speak several times, made an odd gulping noise, then shook his head hopelessly and beckons them to follow him. Probably like Rocket League. Yes. The wind was so strong that they staggered sideways as they walked out onto the pitch. If the crowd was cheering, they couldn't hear it over the fresh rolls of thunder. Rain was splattering over Harry's glasses. How on earth was he going to see the snitch in this? How on earth is he going to fly in that, you know? They'll ground planes if they have to, if the wind is too crazy. You know, they should probably consider that. Okay. The Hufflepuffs were approaching from the opposite side of the pitch, wearing canary yellow robes. The captains walked up to each other and shook hands. Diggory smiled at Wood, but Wood now looked as though he had lockjaw and merely nodded. Harry saw Madame Hooch's mouth form the words, "Mount your brooms!" He pulled his right foot out of the mud with a squelch and swung it over his Nimbus 2000. Madame Hooch put her whistle to her lips and gave it a blast that sounded shrill and distant. They were off. There's a bit of bad static that goes in and out and gets loud. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is. I did hear that earlier. Does it change if I touch things? Like touching some things. Touching things. Does that affect anything? I'm gonna turn up my mic. Static that goes in and out and gets loud. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is. I did hear that earlier. Does it change if I... I'll turn the gain down, maybe? Touching something. Touching things. Turn the gain down. Does that affect anything?
How's that? I have to wait till I can hear it on my end. Sounds better. Come on. Plug it back in. Hurry up. Nope. I can hear it still. How's that? I have to wait till I can hear it on my... Yeah, it's still there. Sounds better. It's only when I talk. Plug it back in. Hurry up. It's when I talk, so that's weird. I can hear it still. How's that? I don't know if it's the mic or... Yeah, it's still there. Okay, let's take a check. Check. I talk. I talk. Weird. Okay, I'm gonna test a few things and then we'll just get back to it if we can't fix it. Da 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 da. So I shake my butt. Clap, 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 clap. I don't wanna be a chick. I don't wanna be a duck. So I shake my butt. Okay, I'm gonna test a few things and then we'll just get back to it if we can't fix it. I don't wanna be a chicken, I don't wanna be a duckin', so I shake my buckin'. Clap, 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 clap. I don't wanna be a chicken, I don't wanna be a duckin', so I shake my buckin'. Okay. I don't wanna be a chicken, I don't wanna be a duckin', so I shake my buckin'. How is it sounding? Is it better? Is it better? I would kick her, sir. Is it better now? Do you hear it better? How is it sounding? Is it better? Is it better? Is it better? Just gonna keep saying that. I would kick her, sir. Is it better now? Okay, that might be the best we can do for now. All right, hopefully it's stays better. It sounds a little better. Hopefully it stays a little better. Okay. Good. I don't know. Might have been just needed to be unplugged and replugged. I also turned off the noise gate and compressor, which I don't know why that would cause static, but you do now? Okay, well then it wasn't those things, which makes sense, because it doesn't make sense that it would be those things. Okay. I have one more question. No questions. I have one more idea. Okay. I'm gonna open up my sound really quick. No questions. I have one more idea. Testing it out here. Okay. Hello. 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 Okay, I disabled something that may or may not have any effect whatsoever. Hello. 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 That's so weird. Hello. Okay, I disabled something that may or may not have any effect whatsoever. Test, 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 test. It's so weird. No Nope, it's still there. Yep, it's still there. Well, I have no idea. It might be one of those things that just goes away on my next restart, but can't restart in the middle of the stream, so as soon as I lean back, it happened. Lean back. Lean back. I don't know why that would have any effect on anything at all. Doesn't really make any sense. Okay. Well, you know what? We're gonna continue on. If it gets impossible to hear me, let me know. But hopefully it's just a mild annoyance that comes and goes. Okay, so where were we? Where were we, sir? They were mounting their brooms. Yes. And he pulled his right foot out of the mud. Okay. Madam Hooch blew her whistle, and Harry rose fast, but his nimbus was swerving slightly with the wind. He held it as steady as he could and turned, squinting into the rain. Within 5 minutes, Harry was soaked. His skin... Missed a word there. Within 5 minutes, Harry was soaked to his skin and frozen, hardly able to see his teammates, let alone the tiny snitch. He flew backwards and forwards across the pitch, past blurred red and yellow shapes, with no idea of what was happening in the rest of the game. He couldn't hear the commentary over the wind. The crowd was hidden beneath a sea of cloaks and battered umbrellas. Twice, Harry came very close to being unseated by a bludger. His vision was so clouded by the rain on his glasses he hadn't seen them coming. He lost track of time. It was getting harder and harder to hold his broom straight. The sky was getting darker, as though night had decided to come early. Twice, Harry nearly hit another player, without knowing whether it was a teammate or an opponent. Everyone was now so wet and the rain so thick that he could hardly tell them apart. With the first flash of lightning came the sound of Madam Hooch's whistle. Harry could just see the outline of Wood through the thick rain, gesturing him to the ground. The whole team splashed down in the mud. "I called for a timeout," Wood roared on the team. "Come on under here." They huddled at the edge of the pitch under a large umbrella. Harry took off his glasses and wiped them hurriedly onto his robes. All right, so I just have a few important things to say to J.K. Rowling right now, and also to this book, and to the wizarding world in general. First, you can build the night sky inside a building, and it matches the actual sky outside and changes, and you have endless food, magic staircases, dragons. The point is you got magic, okay? Magic that can do a lot of stuff. Why can you not magic something to cover them from the rain? That seems like easy peasy. That's gotta be like level 2 magic or something. You know? Just put a little rain cover up there. Just put a rain cover over them so they're not in the rain. You know what? They could totes do that. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do that. What I'm trying to say here is that this school doesn't make any sense, okay? This school is like, first year Harry shows up, Dumbledore's like, "Everybody avoid the Forbidden Forest or you will die a very painful death." And then they're like, "Detention, Harry, the new student who's a first year, your detention is going to be in the Forbidden Forest that we said will bring certain death. And also there's a wizard on the loose that killed you and is trying to kill you, and you're going to go and find them in the Forbidden Forest." What? And then the second year, the whole school was like almost shut down because kids were getting petrified left and right, and someone was like possibly going to get murdered, and the Chamber of Secrets was opened, and the whole school, out of all those teachers with all their years of training, couldn't figure it out. But then the 3 little kids who are in their second year of learning magic somehow are able to figure it all out and save the day for you. Like, what is going on with these teachers? What is wrong with that? Why are they letting kids play in the rain and almost dying for a stupid Quidditch game But then they, like, want these kids to be on time to classes and stuff. If you want them to act like normal kids, then don't treat them like weird, crazy adults out on the Quidditch field. Protect the children. Protect the children. What are you thinking? Protect them. School makes no sense, you guys. It's okay, Magnus Fells. It's okay. Alright. Anyway, we're in halftime. The kids are almost dead. But it doesn't matter because we're in a school that has all of the powers of the universe to prevent this kind of thing from happening. But instead, just lets it happen because we're wizards. We don't care about rain. We're gonna play some Quidditch, and if we have to die for Quidditch, we would die for Quidditch. That is what we do. Alright. What's the score? We're 50 points up, said Wood, but unless we get the snitch soon, we'll be playing into the night. I've got no chance with these on, Harry said exasperatedly, waving his glasses. At that moment, Hermione appeared at his shoulder. She was holding her cloak over her head and was inexplicably beaming. I have an idea, Harry. Give me your glasses, quick. He handed them to her as the team watched in amazement. Hermione tapped them with her wand and said, Impervious! There, she said, handing them back to Harry. They repel water. Wood looked as though he could have kissed her. Brilliant, he called hoarsely after her as she disappeared into the crowd. Okay, team, let's go for it. See what I'm talking about? If they can magic his glasses to not have rain, why don't they magic their clothes to repel rain? Why don't they magic their entire Quidditch field to repel rain? Hello? Why is no one thinking about this? You know, where are the teachers? I understand the kids wouldn't think about that because only Hermione knows these things, but where are the teachers being like, hello, Mr. Dumbledore. I was thinking maybe the kids shouldn't die playing this silly little game, so should we perhaps put a magic charm to just protect them from the rain and, you know, not let the rain fall on them? Maybe. Get out of here, Minerva. We don't want that kind of logic at our school. Water has to go somewhere. They could use it to water the plants in the Forbidden Forest. It's a big forest. It needs water. Okay. Hermione's spell had done the trick. Harry was still numb with cold because they could figure out how to repel water off glasses but not off of clothes for some reason. That makes no sense. Still wetter than he'd ever been in his life. Again, because he can't figure out how to repel water off clothes, even though it seems like a very simple magic trick. But he could see. In fact, I actually own several clothes that can repel water. Alright. A rain jacket. Those exist in the real world, the Muggle world. Why couldn't they wear a rain jacket? What the blazes? I'm frustrated at this book because it makes no logic. Full of fresh determination, he urged his broom through the turbulent air, staring in every direction for the snitch, avoiding a bludger, ducking beneath Diggory, who was streaking in the opposite direction. There was another clap of thunder, followed immediately by forked lightning. This was getting more and more dangerous. Harry needed to get the snitch quickly. He turned, intending to head back towards the middle of the pitch, but at that moment, another flash of lightning illuminated the stands, and Harry saw something that distracted him completely, the silhouette of an enormous, shaggy, black dog, clearly imprinted against the sky, motionless in the topmost empty row of seats. Harry's numb hands slipped on the broom's handle, and his nimbus dropped a few feet. Shaking his sodden fringe out of his eyes, he squinted back to the stands. The dog had vanished. Oh, you guys! we finally got to the title of the chapter, which probably means we're at the end of the chapter because JK likes to do a lot of whatever the chapter title is, you're going to find out what that means at the very end of the chapter. So he just saw the black dog, which, as we learned from Professor Trelawney, is the Grim. And when you see the Grim, it's usually a bad sign that means you're going to die. So there you go. That's fun. Super fun. Harry! Came Wood's anguished yell from the Gryffindor goalpost. Harry, behind you! Harry looked wildly around. Cedric Diggory was pelting up the pitch, and a tiny speck of gold was shimmering in the rain-filled air between them. With a jolt of panic, Harry threw himself flat to the broom handle and zoomed towards the snitch. Come on, he growled at his nimbus as the rain whipped his face. Faster! But something odd was happening. An eerie silence was falling across the stadium. The wind, though as strong as ever, was forgetting to roar. It was as though someone had turned off the sound, as though Harry had suddenly gone deaf. What was going on? And then, a horribly familiar wave of cold swept over him, inside him, just as he became aware of something moving on the pitch below. Before he had time to think, Harry had taken his eyes off the snitch and looked down. At least 100 Dementors, their hidden faces pointing up at him, were standing below. It was as though freezing water was rising in his chest, cutting at his insides. And then he heard it again. Someone was screaming inside his head. A woman. Not Harry! Not Harry, please! Not Harry! Stand aside, you silly girl. Stand aside now. Not Harry, please, no! Take me! Kill me instead! Numbing, swirling white mist was filling Harry's brain. What was he doing? Why was he flying? He needed to help her. She was going to die. She was going to be murdered. He was falling through the icy mist. Not Harry, please, have mercy, have mercy! A shrill voice was laughing. The woman was screaming, and Harry knew no more. Lucky the ground was so soft. I thought he was dead for sure. But he didn't even break his glasses. Harry could hear the voices whispering, but they made no sense whatsoever. He didn't have a clue where he was, or how he got there, or what he'd been doing before he got there. All he knew was that every inch of him was aching, as though he had been beaten. That was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. Scariest thing. Hooded black figures, cold, screaming. Harry's eyes snapped open. He was lying in the hospital wing. The Gryffindor Quidditch team, spattered with mud from head to foot, was gathered around his bed. Ron and Hermione were also there, looking as though they climbed out of a swimming pool. Harry, said Fred, who looked extremely white underneath the mud. How are you feeling? It was as though Harry's memory was on fast forward. The lightning, the Grim, the Snitch, the Dementors. What happened? He said, sitting up so suddenly they all gasped. You fell off, said Fred. Must have been, 50 feet? We thought you died, said Alicia, who was shaking. Hermione made a small squeaky noise. Her eyes were extremely bloodshot. But the match, said Harry. What happened? Are we having a replay? No one said anything. The horrible truth sank into Harry like a stone. We didn't lose. Diggory got the snitch, said George. I like that that's what he's most concerned about. Just after you fell, he didn't realize what had happened. That sounds familiar. When he looked back and saw you on the ground, he tried to call it off. Wanted a rematch, but they won fair and square, even Wood admits it. Where is Wood? Said Harry, suddenly realizing he wasn't there. Still in the showers, said Fred. We think he's trying to drown himself. Harry put his face to his knees, his hands gripping his hair. Fred grabbed his shoulder and shook it roughly. Come on, Harry, you've never missed the snitch before.
There had to be one time you didn't get it, said George. It's not over yet, said Fred. We lost by 100 points, right? So if Hufflepuff lose to Ravenclaw and we beat Ravenclaw and Slytherin, Hufflepuff will have to lose by at least 200 points, said George. But if they beat Ravenclaw, no way. Ravenclaw are too good. But if Slytherin lose against Hufflepuff, it all depends on the points. A margin of 100 either way. Harry lay there not saying a word. They had lost. For the first time ever, he had lost a Quidditch match. It all happens sometimes. You can't win every time. And if you do, it eventually means nothing. As I have learned from the girl, what's her name? I have to look it up. The girl who plays Bart Simpson. I was listening to her book, and she said, she was talking about how she would always do these competitions and she would always win. And after a while, she didn't care anymore, and it became like so expected that she would win that it just meant nothing to her. And then she finally lost, and she was devastated because she didn't know that. Oh, Nancy Cartwright, that's her name. She was devastated because she was like, I didn't know I could lose. But then afterwards, she was like, oh, wait, this is like a new alive feeling, because now there's a chance that I can lose, which makes the winning better again. So anyway, pew pew. Nancy Cartwright, everybody. Okay. So, yeah. After 10 minutes or so, Madame Pomfrey came over to tell them to leave Harry in peace. We'll come and see you later, Fred told him. Don't beat yourself up, Harry. You're the best seeker we've ever had. Oh, thank you for that phone. The team trooped out, trailing mud behind them. Madame Pomfrey shut the door behind them, looking disapproving. Ron and Hermione moved nearer to Harry's bed. Dumbledore was really angry, Hermione said in a quaking voice. I've never seen him like that before. He ran into the pitch as you fell, waved his wand, and you sort of slowed down before you hit the ground. Then he whirled his wand as the Dementors shot silver stuff at them. They left the stadium straight away. He was furious they'd come into the grounds. We heard him. Then he magicked you onto a stretcher, said Ron, and walked up to the school with you floating on it. Everyone thought you were... His voice faded away, but Harry hardly noticed. He was thinking about what the Dementors had done to him, about the screaming voice. He looked up and saw Ron and Hermione looking at him so anxiously that he quickly cast around for something matter-of-fact to say. Of course I listened to Alanis Morissette. Who do you think I am? I am a human. Okay. Did someone get my Nimbus? Ron and Hermione looked quickly at each other. What? Said Harry, looking from one to the other. Well, when you fell off, it got blown away, said Hermione hesitantly. And it hit, oh, Harry, it hit the Whomping Willow. Harry's insides lurched. The Whomping Willow was a very violent tree which stood alone in the middle of the grounds. And, he said, dreading the answer, well, you know the Whomping Willow, said Ron. It doesn't like being hit. Professor Flitwick brought it back just before you came round, said Hermione in a very small voice. Slowly she reached down for a bag at her feet, turned it upside down, and tipped a dozen bits of splintered wood and twig onto the bed. The only remains of Harry's faithful, finally beaten broomstick. Very sad. Which of her songs would I do karaoke? Probably none. She's an amazing singer. I cannot. She's amazing. Well, that's it, my friends.
That is the Grim Defeat. What a clever name. That was a great name for this chapter, JK. I mean, that was a clever name. You know? Grim Defeat, because he was defeated in Quidditch, but it was also grim that happened to them, but also he saw a Grim, and then that happened, and, like, they just learned that when you see a Grim, you die afterwards, and then Harry almost died. I mean, that's so much going on in this chapter. It's crazy. It is ironic. Whew, that was a sad, scary, crazy chapter. I mean, if I feel bad for Ron and Hermione. I can't imagine how that must feel, literally thinking your friend is dead. How scary and sad. Like, I would have a really hard time getting over that. And Harry wakes up and he's just like, is my broomstick all right? Did I win the Quidditch match, you guys? Harry, you're lucky to be alive, mister. I think you've come too close to death too many times. It's like not a thing for him anymore. He's like, death. I face that every year. It's all good, you guys. It's all good. Anyway, that is it for chapter 9. Guys, we are blowing through this book. Next week is chapter 10, The Marauder's Map. If you enjoyed this stream, please give us a follow, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you again next Monday at 6:15. And Saturday, of course, for our Just Dance stream. And that's it for the Harry Potter stream. So, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. We can do a song before we go if you'd like. Let's see. Trying to see what would be a good way to do this. You should look at my playlist of all of the karaoke songs that I can do. I made a list specifically of the songs that I know. Let's see. I think this one will be good. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We're gonna finish the day with a song, apparently. There you go. There's a playlist of all of the songs that you can redeem your points for. And I should make like a karaoke page or something. That would be cool. I don't have like a karaoke specific page, but I should make one. Okay. Do some karaoke and then we'll head out for tonight. You know what I mean? Here he is. Let's pull up the YouTubes, as that is where we get our best karaoke's from. And Brighter Than the Sun. Okay, sure. Brighter Than the Sun. Do you want to put the link to Brighter Than the Sun in the chat so I can get to it quickly? And then I will capture the YouTube. Tonight, tonight. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Tonight, tonight. Da ba da ba da. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da. Okay, Brighter Than the Sun by Colby Calais is a song that we will sing. Do 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 do. And I think you already redeemed your points last time, huh, Markness, and we just never got to your song. Okay. Then let's put the lyrics up so we can see. Okay. Probably. We'll just say so. As I think you did. Oh, let's get that volume up a little bit. All right. Stop me on the corner. Swear you hit me like a vision. I wasn't expecting. Who am I to tell fate where it's supposed to go with it? Don't you blink, you might miss it. Oh shit. The timing is off. Sorry about that. I need to I think I need to adjust my laptop webcam. Yeah, sorry about that. Because I have to turn everything delay for the stupid Elgato. You guys, the Elgato I have is so old and dumb. I need a new one. I just don't have $200 or whatever Elgatos cost right now. And my Elgato requires me to delay everything just so that you can see my actions in real time. So it's quite annoying when I have to switch back to something else and then I'm delayed. So anyway, I'm gonna fix it and hopefully it works. Amazon, yes. I do have an Elgato on my Amazon wish list. And I am going to, I'm wishing for it. I'll get it eventually. Got quite a few things I have to pay for, bills and stuff first. Okay, I think that should get rid of the delay. Hello. Ooh, it's like still kind of delayed. And oddly. I think that's just the video being slow delay, not the actual delay. Yeah, okay. So it should be good now. Sorry about that. Okay. I'll just figure out where we are. Let's go back like a little bit. Is that where we are? Don't you blink, you might miss it. See, we got a right to just love it or leave it. You find it and keep it, 'cause it ain't every day you get the chance to say, oh, this is how it starts. The lightning strikes the heart. heart. Goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun. Oh, we could be the stars, falling from the sky, shining how we want, brighter than the sun. I never seen it, I found this love, I'm undefeated. You better believe I'm gonna treat it better than anything I've ever found, 'cause you're so damn beautiful, read it. Time and deliver, let's seal it. But we go together like peanuts and paydays, Molly and reggae, and it and every day you get the chance to say, oh, this is how it starts. Lightning strikes the heart, goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun. Oh, we could be the stars, falling from the sky, shining how we want, brighter than the sun. Everything is like a whiteout, 'cause we should shine down. Even when the light's out, I can see you glow. Got my head up in the rafters, got me happy ever after. Never felt this way before, ain't felt this way before. Swear you hit me like a vision, I wasn't expecting. But who am I to tell fate where it's supposed to go? Oh, this is how it starts. Lightning strikes the heart, goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun. Oh, we could be the stars, falling from the sky, shining how we want, brighter than the sun. Oh, this is how it starts. Lightning strikes the heart, goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun. Oh, we could be the stars, falling from the sky, shining how we want, brighter than the sun, brighter than the sun, brighter than the sun. I thought that was the end, but I guess there's more. Oh, this is how it starts. Lightning strikes the heart, goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun. Oh, this is how it starts. Lightning strikes the heart, goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun. Oh, this is how it starts. Lightning strikes the heart, goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun. Oh, this is how it starts. Lightning strikes the heart, goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun. There you go. Oh, look, they got Fergalicious. I like that one. I should add that one to my list. And they got the Pussycat Dolls, and look at all these things they got. Natasha Bedingfield. That's a cool one. Save it to my playlist. I will save it to songs I will sing. I've never heard of Alice Merton No Roots, though. No wonder what that is. Fergalicious definition. Make them boys go loco. All right. Well, that was fun. Thanks for redeeming that song. I real appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it and had a wonderful time. I do appreciate the emotes that you have shared in honor of this song. Well, on that note, let's see. Positive Music Monday. If you like music, that violin chick is streaming right now. She's a chick that plays violin, and we can go raid her so that we can watch some beautiful violin. Doo-ba-doo, boo-boo. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. We're gonna listen to some violin. Let's go. We're gonna listen to some violin, violin, violin. Oh, this is how it ends. It is time to end. Thanks for joining.